Hello everyone, Tactical Itch here, and today we have a battle replay sent in by General Eisenbart. In this battle, he will be playing against Eltharian Shades from the MTK clan on the League of Extraordinary Degenerates. In this tournament battle, it will be an Ogre versus Empire matchup, with General Eisenbart playing as the Ogre Kingdoms, going for a monster mashing approach. Two Stonehorns with their massive HP pull, heavy armor and missile resistance. They can tank out quite a bit of missile damage, especially with the healing from the Ogre's armies. Now, for the rest of the army, we have a line of Ogre Bulls backing up some Nobblers in the front line, mixed in with some Nobbler Trappers, some more Vanguard deployed Nobbler Trappers on the flanks, backed up by some Saber Tusk packs. Leading the army would be a single Slaughtermaster of the Great Maul, coming in with some healing, of course, the Troll Gut spell, and also Bull Gorger for the extra weapon damage and melee attack. Now, on the other side of the battlefield, the Empire is boxing. A wall of spears and halberd surrounding a ton of missile fire, some Free Company militia, 3 units, in fact one of them the armor-piercing Sterling's Revenge, another unit of Silver Bullets, very elite handgunners, backed up by the regiment of renowned great cannons, the Hammer of Witches. Now, leading the army would be Marcus Wolfheart, all the way deployed in the front, supported by a Bright Wizard with nothing but Burning Head to clear out trappers. At the back there, 3 units of Empire Knights to provide a little bit more mass blocking units, and that's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. Personally, I absolutely love using Stonehorns to break boxes. This lumbering mountain of flesh can take a surprising amount of punishing when it comes to missile fire. Having the heavy armor over 9000 HP and a bit of missile resistance of 20%, they can just tank missiles for the longest of time, especially with the healing from the Slaughtermaster and the Butcher ability of Ogre armies sustaining their HP, recovering their wounds. So, for the rest of the army here, unfortunately, Ogre Bulls are already falling victim to the Hammer of Witches' incoming fire, while the Silver Bullets and the Free Company militia are all positioning themselves readying to welcome the Ogres with a volley of hot lead. We'll be going into fast forward here as the Ogre army is moving forward, trying to get some Saber Tusk packs into flanking position and pick apart this Empire box as well. In the front line though, the Ogre Bulls are taking significant damage from all that Overwatch fire from the Empire, though the Nobblers are shooting back, trying to chip away the health of some of these spears. Spearmen charging into the Ogre Bulls, very brave of them actually. However, they cannot utilize that brace charge defense and are taking noticeable damage from the charge of the Ogre Bulls. Stonehorns though are now pushing straight through the enemy infantry front line, getting on top of the Silver Bullets, a bit of a hunter's snare attempting to lock it down, but it's too late. Both Stonehorns have pushed through, one of them even pushed through the Empire Knight, getting on top of the Sterling's Revenge, so both armor-piercing missile infantry has been shut down by the Ogre Kingdoms, while the Nobbler Trappers and Saber Tusk are all closing in. One of them even getting the charge onto the Empire Knights, should be able to do some decent damage on impact, though the Empire, fighting back with a bit of Burning Head, roasting a ton of Nobblers. 2 units routing, the Ogre Bulls are also fighting in the middle of a ton of anti-large spears. Not exactly the greatest fight for them, but both of the armor-piercing missile infantry are now offline. Bad news for the Empire for sure, though Hammer of Witches are still firing now point blank onto the Stonehorn, who is now sustained by a bit of Troll Gut. The Free Company militia are desperately unloading everything they have into the Stonehorn. The problem is that their lack of armor piercing means the Stonehorn will be able to mitigate most of that damage with armor and the rest with the missile resistance. At the back there, the Saber Tusk packs not exactly having the best engagement. They're all piling onto the Empire Knights earlier, getting them quite low, but they themselves being dragged into melee by a ton of anti-large infantry, not exactly the best trade for them. Though on the flanks, the Nobbler Trappers have been quite successful chipping away the health of the Empire state troops. 2 of these units, the Spearmen and the Halberdiers, have been routed, while the Silver Bullets take more and more damage from the firepower of the Nobbler Trappers. Now, this Saber Tusk packs decided to rush into melee combat once again instead of chasing off routed units. I do think that this might have been a mistake, but right now it seems that the Empire has lost the initiative and the Ogre Kingdoms is in control. More and more Empire missiles are shut down, though the Hammer of Witches is left free to fire at the Stonehorn right now. Same goes for Marcus Wolfheart somewhere on the field. I'm not quite sure where he is. Oh, right there. He is slowly poking down the Stonehorn, but with the huge HP pool of this monster and the missile resistance, it's gonna take him a while. The Butcher ability has been activated to heal up this Stonehorn, while the other Stonehorn being hit by a Hunter Snare will be pinned down and slowly dragged down by the Empire Knights, but very, very slowly indeed, as they do lack the armor piercing to work down armored monster. Hammer of Witches still left to fire over here. Yeah, once again, big mistake of the Ogre player, allowing the armor-piercing artillery to really poke away the Stonehorn's health. Every cannonball landing onto the Stonehorn takes out a small chunk of his health. Not exactly the most significant damage like a Luminarch, but it does add up over time. There are some Halberdiers who have resecured the right flank, now pushing away the Nobbler Trappers. Not exactly the greatest trade for them, but they don't really have a choice other than to clean up all these Nobbler infantry anyways, trying to eliminate all the support in the late game for the Ogre Kingdom's army. Empire Knights once again charging into Stonehorns. I don't think that's gonna bode well for them. While over here, Sabertusk Pack trying to shut down the Hammer of Witches, but the Spears are here to screen them out. So yeah, this mobility unit has failed in its mission. Stonehorn right here receiving a bit of a troll gut, very nice just to keep its leadership and HP high to keep it stay in this fight. While on the other side, the Stonehorn has routed away the Empire Knights with its mere presence. The terror really coming in handy in this kind of mid to late game scenario where units are tattered and their leadership are not high. The Stonehorn, while being healed, will keep plying through Empire State troops, finishing off the Stirland's revenge, eliminating yet another armor-piercing missile unit. The other Stonehorn also continues to leap around the battlefield. You can see that the Empire really struggles to limit the movement of these two monsters. Cavalry can usually pin down most monsters, but not against monsters who have ridiculous charge animation like the Stonehorns. Now that they're shot in the back by the Nobbler Trappers, with the under the missile fire leadership penalty plus the terror from the Stonehorns, the Empire Knights are routed away. Now the Stonehorn is lumbering forward, going straight after the routed Empire Knights, stomping quite a few of their unit models under its feet. Stonehorn being surrounded by spear and shot point blank by Marcus Wolfhart. A Hunter Snare was attempted to limit the movement of the Stonehorn, but alas, it seems that the net abilities doesn't actually work on units that has initiated charge animation. The Stonehorn was able to move away from Marcus Wolfhart and deliver some devastating charge to the surrounding state troops. The Terror and some pursuing Nobblers were able to keep these state troops routed and chased off. With one flank cleaned up, the Stonehorn is reconvening with the rest of Nobbler Trappers and the Slaughtermaster. There are some Nobblers being roasted by a Burning Head, but a massive charge from the Stonehorn equalizing this fight, breaking away the Bright Wizard and also perhaps the Spearmen as well. They will be terrified soon by the Stonehorn's presence. Free Company Militia trying their best to shoot, but once again, not enough armor piercing. And on the far side, some routed Nobbler Trappers regrouped and should be able to clean up these Free Company Militia. The Halberdiers once again finding themselves fighting Nobbler Chaff. Not the most effective trade, but they still have to fight them regardless, though this does allow the Stonehorn to just charge in and stomp these poor Halberdiers with the support of all these Nobbler Trappers. On the far side, there's Stonehorn on the verge of routing, but did manage to rout away and push these Free Company Militia off the battlefield. Halberdiers are moving in, trying to keep the Stonehorn pressured and perhaps drag it down with the armor-piercing anti-large, but I don't know how much good it can do because, well, you can see Stonehorn is just charging straight through the formation, doing massive impact damage. Once more Burning Head onto two Nobbler Trappers. The burnt effect perhaps can help the Bright Wizard to rout both of them, and indeed it did. With the Bright Wizard charging in, all these Nobblers have been routed away, leaving the Stonehorns, one Stonehorn and the Slaughtermaster versus everything else left on the Empire side, as the weaker Stonehorn right now, earning 2 chevrons and 240 kills, still managed to be finished off by Marcus Wolfhart, or at least permanently routed away, as the Bright Wizard will be chasing it off the map. Still, the balance of power is in the favor of Ogre Kingdoms, as the Stonehorn and the Slaughtermaster are still quite healthy, especially the Slaughtermaster not taking any visible damage because anything he took will be healed back up by the Blood Grill and also Blood Cleaver. And don't forget that he has Body Slapper, reducing enemy melee attack, making enemy units surrounding him less effective in melee. This is actually very good in keeping the Slaughtermaster alive by reducing the damage that his enemies can deal. Anyways, I digressed as Marcus Wolfheart got charged by an angry Stonehorn. This Master Hunter got absolutely punted by the beast he is hunting. Oh, how the tables have turned. To make things worse, Marcus is running out of ammo while the Stonehorn is still on half health. Another headbutt and Marcus might have just set the world record for human flight distance. Once again being knocked far away by the Stonehorn. Now that he is out of ammo, Marcus actually has to challenge this mighty beast in melee combat. Not that he has any hope in winning without his bow and arrow. Another lunge from the Stonehorn and Marcus is down on the floor once again. So yeah, Marcus is just gonna be finished off eventually by the two single entities who are catching up and giving him a good walloping. Now the Nobbler Trappers are here using their numbers to tar pit the Empire units. Marcus is trying to run, but unfortunately the Nobblers are blocking his way and he just got stomped once again by the Stonehorn. He is not susceptible to terror routes because he is indeed immune to psychology, but this means little when his entire HP bar got stomped to pieces by a monster the size of a house. Marcus Wolfheart will be routed and probably will not be allowed to come back, with the Stonehorn constantly chasing him off, perhaps even finished off as well. The Hammer of Witches have been firing the whole game, but still only around half the ammo has been spent, and we're already on the 10-minute mark of the battle, really showing how problematic Empire cannons are. Against moving targets, their turning rate is really hurting them as they struggle to keep their sight on their target who is constantly moving out of their firing arc. As a result, most of their game is just spent on moving their artillery models around trying to get an aim on their targets, not actually firing at all. It doesn't seem it matters in the end as the Stonehorn finishes Marcus Wolfheart, now turning its gaze upon the Hammer of Witches, the only surviving unit of the Empire army. With the artillery also shut down by the Stonehorn, all hope is lost for the Empire. Big thanks to General Eisenbart, a longtime supporter of the channel, for sending in this replay, and GG to both players. Now for this battle, pretty much the two Stonehorns carried the game. Their sheer mass managed to crush through the Empire front line, pushes straight into the back line, shutting down the Silver Bullets and the Sterling's Revenge. The Empire Knights were not able to stop the massive beasts, and the only hope was pretty much using Hunter's Snare to lock down the Stonehorns and focus them down with the armor-piercing Silver Bullets and the Sterling's Revenge. But unfortunately, Eltharian Shades using the Hunter's Snare a little too late at the beginning there, allowing one of the Stonehorns to get on top of the Silver Bullets, though even if they managed to get the Hunter's Snare out on time, the second Stonehorn was still able to get onto the Sterling's Revenge to shut down at least one of the armor-piercing missile units. So unfortunately, Empire, I don't see their army having a lot of tools to deal with the double Stonehorn attack in this matchup. For the rest of the army here, the Ogre Bulls are getting some pretty meh value, getting mostly annihilated by the Empire firepower, while the Nobbler Trappers, as always, being a very cost-efficient missile unit that can double as melee chaff. The Saber-Tusk packs unfortunately got thrown into the anti-large halberdiers and spears and got dragged down, so not much value on these guys. The Empire army having the Bright Wizard annihilating a ton of Nobbler Trappers, Marcus Wolfheart earning back quite a bit of value with his shooting, while the Hammer of Witches doing a lot of heavy lifting. All three units getting some really good value, but unfortunately just not able to carry the rest of the army, as the missile units struggle to pay for themselves. Even the Free Company militia shooting quite a bit right there, but still not quite able to put down enough of the Ogre forces, with their healing mitigating a lot of that missile damage. The halberdiers did pretty well overall, and the spears did okay, just that they were no match against the charge impact of the Stonehorns. Anyways, that's it for today's multiplayer action, and if you want to see more Total War Warhammer multiplayer content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.